Hey everyone, welcome to the Captain Drone YouTube channel. My name is Steve and I am a drone pilot, and in my hand I do have a drone for you today, an FPV drone. This is the EMAX CINEHAWK 03. So yes, as per the hat, this video is all about EMAX. First thing to tell you is this is one of the last videos I'm making before I head off on vacation, so you're probably watching this while I'm on vacation. The next thing to tell you is that this CINEHAWK 03 by EMAX is not a new FPV drone on the market. It's about 5 months old. So why am I reviewing it now? Well, that's because EMAX sent me one 5 months ago so I could review it. And back then, EMAX would send reviewers like me pre-release versions. So at that time, the pre-release version they sent me was a dud. It didn't work very well, and I didn't want to review a product that wasn't fully baked. So I said, I'm not reviewing your product, and EMAX said, no problem. We'll send you one when we mass market them. And they did, and I'm finally getting around to reviewing it. So this is going to be a short review because you can go watch anybody else's review from 5 months ago who was actually reviewing this when it came on the market. Now, I will say EMAX is pretty proud of this FPV drone because this is a cinema drone. They call it a cinema drone because it does have the DJI 03 FPV camera air unit system in it. And they do something different than everybody else. They stick the camera up front. Well, of course, that's where the camera goes, but they put the whole air unit up front as well. I've never seen that on any drone. It's sitting right behind the camera. So you got the camera here and the air unit is right there. Most drones, let me show you, like this GEP-RC Cinelog 35, they put the DJI unit right here in the center. So most companies do that, but EMAX stuck it right behind the forward section. So what benefit is there in that? Well, the only thing I notice is that their frame is super thin. Like there's not much to the body of this drone. It just looks like a skeleton. Whereas you take something like the Cinelog and it looks like thick plastic all around, like it's a big, thick, heavy unit. So this allows them to make a drone with 3.5-inch props, duct it, and the whole FPV drone weighs under 250 grams. Now, unfortunately, if you put a battery on it, it goes over 250 grams. And speaking of batteries, they recommend an 850 milliamp hour LiPo battery, 4S, 4-cell. I don't have a clue what the flight time is on this unit. I do know that the brushless motors, even though it's not written on the motors, they are 3000 kV. I also know that they have a very modern F4 flight controller system in it, so it's not your old grandma's F4, it's a modern F4 flight controller. They do use an XT30 plug on the back. That's probably because they go with an 850 milliamp hour LiPo battery, because if you look at the space for the battery, it's not very large. So, you know, you're gonna stick a battery about this size on there. You could probably get a larger one on. The other thing I noticed as well, they call it a cinema drone because of the DJI 03 system, which records at 4K 60 frames per second. So you should get good video coming out of this unit. But look at the top. They have a space here where you can put a camera, an external camera. But unlike a lot of other manufacturers, I didn't get a mount with mine to put the camera on. So it's pretty much plain right here. So I'm going to show you in this video what I do to put a camera on systems like this where they don't give you like a GoPro mount. The version they sent me is ELRS, so I will be using this here Jumper T20. And since it is the DJI 03 system, I'll be using the DJI FPV goggles. Okay, so my plan is to take this for a quick flight and see how good it is. Now, this camera over here should pick it up. Look over here. See these trees? They're moving all over the place. It's pretty windy. If you're new to FPV, you probably don't realize that any drone you get with ducted props is really good for directing the wind from the props straight down. But on windy days like right now, these drones are terrible. They get blown all over the place. So that means I'm going to probably try to stay close to the ground so I don't get blown around too much. Here we go. Okay, I've got my Jumper T20. It's all set up, ready to go. It's powered on. I'm just going to put a battery in this baby and we'll be all set to fly. So I'll show you here with the battery in. It takes up quite a lot of the rear, and that is an 1100 milliamp hour LiPo battery 4S. As I mentioned before, they recommend an 850 because it weighs a little bit less. So this flight is going to be done without any camera up here. I'm just using the weight of the drone, and the video you're going to see is the video coming right out of this camera up front. Now for this flight, I'm going to leave the camera facing pretty much forward. That's about as low as it goes. You see that in the front? That's about as low as I can get this. So for this flight, I'm going to keep it low because we don't want it to tilt too much, because then we're going to be going too fast. I'm going to try to go a little bit slow here.
Flight mode acro.
There we go, acro mode.
And
This is the maiden. I have not flown this. Oh, here are the rocks. Get it away from my head. There we go. All right. Two things I gotta get used to is this controller. I haven't used this one for a little bit, and this drone. There we go. Let's just buzz around here and make sure all is well. So it's getting tossed around by the wind, but it's doing it quite well, better than expected. A little bit to the left as I expected with the wind blowing, and come back this way. All right. So now you're wondering, how does it fly? How does it fly? What do I think? Well, as many reviewers have already said, they really enjoy this CINEHAWK. It flies quite well. You can really get it to go between objects with no issues whatsoever. Yeah, going through stuff like that, coming back to me. I'm staying close to me only because there's a lot of people working in a garden around here. I will say one thing about this CINEHAWK is it really wants to move. So I've got the camera pointing forward, which usually means you're not going to get a lot of speed, because if I go fast, watch what's going to happen. I'm going to look down at the ground. So I can't do that. So I've got it set with the camera forward, but it really wants to boogie. It almost seems like this is a race quad. It's not designed to be a race quad, but it almost seems like it. So I'll slow it way down to walking speed here. This is how you're supposed to fly it, like this. So you should be going really slow like this, just buzzing around your world, checking out stuff. So let's go down this sidewalk. I see cars over there, so that's a bad thing. That means people could be in the school today, which is something I don't want because I'm around the school. So how is the image off of this thing? It is the DJI-03 system, so it should be pretty darn good, I would think. Is it pretty smooth? Is it bouncing all over the place, or is it quite decent? Now the wind is tossing me all over the place, so I'm controlling it by keeping it straight, but it causes me to go up and down an awful lot. So if you see this quad going up and down, that's just me trying to fight the wind as I'm flying through it here. Let's go back this way. Here, let's go up and see our windy flag. There we are. Oh, Canada. These drones do much better when you fly lower to the ground, so let's bring it down. Anybody who flies FPV drones will tell you that it's very difficult to go through objects when it's windy, because the wind is throwing you to one side or the other. So I have to try to compensate for that as I go near objects, try not to get blown into them. Let's go visit the water. Let's go see. I don't think this quad is waterproof, but here's some water over here. Normally there's birds hanging out over here. I don't see any birds there. Coming back. Let's go down this way. I don't want to go too low because knowing me, I'll run out of power and I'll dunk right into the water. Come back this way. And that's where everybody's working on a garden over there. And those people back there are working on these portables. They're adding a new one back here. There they are. So you can go visit everything going on. All right, there you go. Coming back, the reason they're adding those portables, those little houses, those are actually little schools. When the school over here has too many people, they put the students in those portables. All right. So I'm going to put a camera on this and see how it flies with a camera, and I'll show you how I get a camera on a drone that has no GoPro Hero mount. I do this with all drones, so check this out. Coming back to me, I'll just go land it over by my feet. Actually, I won't land it by my feet because there's rocks on the ground. I'm chewing up the props. Let me just go land it over in the grass over here. Bringing it on back, coming down for a grass landing. And I'll put it over here so I don't chew up the props. There we are. So for the next flight, I want to put a DJI Action 2 external camera on this unit, but you can see there's no place to put the camera because there's no mount or anything like that. So we have to add our own mount. And what I always do is I add the GoPro mount. So right here, I'll show you up here, right here, this is a GoPro mount. It's all set to go. You get it in the box with your GoPro or anything. So you take this mount and you just stick it on top right here. And you're saying, well, that's no good. How does it stay? So you get some zip ties, go to your local hardware store. You'll need 2. Wrap the zip tie around the front portion. Take your mount, slide it underneath the zip tie, and then pull your zip tie tight. So you could probably see it here. I have this zip tie running over top of the mount, so it works well. Now, depending on the weight of your camera, you might want to put 2 zip ties for added strength, especially if you're going to leave it for a long time. I'm one of those guys. I usually just put the mount on for the flight I'm taking, and then I might cut it off later. But just to show you for this video, I'll just put a second zip tie. And there we go. Then I take some scissors and I cut off the excess plastic. So what you're left with then is a mount on your FPV drone. You can stick a camera on like that, a massive one. I won't be doing that. Since this is an Action 2 camera, it comes apart and I can just put that piece on. And there we go. So now the next footage I'll show you is the video coming out of the Action 2, DJI Action 2, because it's on the front. So now I should get a little bit more speed because I've got it more on an angle to fly like this. So when it films, it has to tilt like this to film, and then we'll get nice footage. So it's got a boogie. Plug this in. There we go. It's all set to go. And here we go. A little bit heavier on the nose. I had to account for that. Like I was ramming into the pavement almost on takeoff. But I do have it tilted more forward, the camera that is, so that, or I should say I have it tilted backwards a little bit more, so I have more speed now for the flight. This also means with a bit more speed and a bit more weight, you're going to use up a lot more battery power. But look at this thing go. I'm not even on full speed, and look at it go. It really boogies. So for a Cinehawk, you could really chase some fast-moving objects with this. Pretty decent. All right, let's do this with the camera on it, give it some height, and flip this way. Then come back up. And there we go. I will say with the camera on it, all that weight in the front really throws off the CG, the center of gravity on this thing, like the balance. It's very nose heavy. I don't think it likes it. I don't think it likes the nose heaviness. But yeah, it seems to fly okay though. I'm just sticking around where I am because, as I mentioned already, a lot of people out and about. Come around me. Woohoo! Missed that. So I'd say the only negative I'm noticing so far is with the weight of that camera up front, really kills the flight time. You don't get a lot of flight time with the weight. No, not in the least. No. But you get some cool flying. Go back to our little water area. So you can see the wind blowing the water. This is what it looks like flying over water with an external camera. Let's go back this way, over the football field. Go up to these little lights up here. And try not to hit them. You're checking them out. How are the lights looking? Lights look good. Now the DJI 3 system as well as the external camera I put on both have the ability to get rid of any sort of external vibrations. I will say it's a beautiful flying drone. Beautiful flying. Watch this go around. And here I am, right there. Let's come back towards me and we'll go land it in the grass right over here. Maybe in this way. And then over this, not on the road. No, right down here is fine. Right about here. There we go. Next thing I want to show you is what you get in the box if you buy this baby. Check it out. This is the box the Cinehawk comes in. Inside the box you'll find the Cinehawk and accessories. First accessory would be spare parts for the dampening system, as well as a bag of hardware. 2 spare AVAN 3.5-inch props are included, as well as the usual customer service card and EMAX stickers. Finally, you have the Cinehawk itself, and you will note that it is fully assembled. You don't have to install the propellers, antenna, anything. It's all ready to go out of the box. One very odd feature of this FPV drone is that the camera can actually be tilted 90 degrees upward. Very rare for an FPV drone. You should receive no jello in the video because there is a dampening system. The version I received is ELRS, and this is the external ELRS receiver, and this is the external ELRS antenna. As a reminder, if you buy batteries for this drone, make sure they have an XT30 connector. And finally, the total weight of the Cinehawk is 241 grams, but if you attach a battery, it's going to be over 250 grams. All right, my final thoughts on the Cinehawk 03. It's a really nice flying drone. I will say it flies better without any external weight of a camera on the top. Flies really well with an 1100 milliamp hour LiPo battery, no issues there. Flight time, you're looking at about 5 minutes flight time max. Power wise, it's got plenty of power, but when you put something external on it that has a lot of weight, it still has power, but it seems to struggle. You can really hear the props going, and it throws off the balance a bit, I think. You know, it really has to push since all the weight is up front. You've got the DJI camera, you've got the 03 system, and then you put an external camera on top. Even though you have a tiny battery in the back, it really pushes the front down, so the flight controller really has to struggle with the ESC to get the front up. It works fine, but when I was doing freestyle with the camera on it, you could tell it was, whoa, that's heavy when you flipped it to the front. You could feel the weight. So I would say anybody who gets this, don't put an external camera on it, just unless you put something really small like an Insta360 or a tiny little run cam thumb or something like that, or a naked GoPro or whatever, then you should be fine because they don't weigh anything. But I think most people are going to buy this and just fly it with the DJI-03 system because you've already seen what the camera looks like. Anyways, I'm going to put links to this product below. You can go check it out. EMAX sells it, and it's been selling now for 5 months, and I think it's been selling quite well. So a lot of people are happy, and like I said, you can go watch other reviews. There's plenty of reviews out on this quad and see what other people think. So for now, I say, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I'm on vacation, having a great time when you're watching this. And yeah, when I get back in September, I'll create some new videos. Until then, I say bye.